Welcome to sunny Matsuyama, with a 100% chance of being drenched. With a population of around 500,000, this is the largest city on Shikoku, the smallest of Japan's 4 main islands. I arrived cold and wet from my Shimanamikado bike ride, and I was too early to check into my hotel, so I couldn't change into some warm clothes. Matsuyama City is built around Mount Katsuyama, with the castle perched on top, keeping an eye on everything below. On the way to my hotel, I noticed something going on, some kind of local festival. It turned out it was the Ehime Bread Festival, a nice surprise, although the weather itself wasn't doing it any favours. I decided to head to Dogo Onsen, and along the way, I saw the replica Botchan steam train heading to Matsuyama Station. This is Dogo Onsen Station, which is also a Starbucks. The station building is a 1986 replica of the 1911 Western-style structure that was popular during Japan's Meiji-era modernization. Right outside is another well-known attraction, the Botchan Karakuri Clock. Every hour, or twice on weekends and holidays, it puts on a short mechanical show. It was built in 1994 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Dōgo Onsen Honkan. The characters featured are from Bocchan, which is a novel by Natsume Soseki, inspired by his time teaching in Matsuyama in 1895. The book has become a cultural symbol of the city, and this is one of many attractions that showcase that. There were always so many people crowding around the clock around the time when it was about to begin the show, and it lasts for about 1 minute. After the clock, I walked through the Dogo shopping arcade to see what the shops had to offer. The first shop I stopped at was filled with Mikyan goods. Mikyan is the Ehime prefecture mascot, and he is part Mikan, a citrus fruit, and part dog. He is definitely one of the cute mascots in Japan. But there is also an evil-looking rival mascot, representing a flawed Mikan. Mikan is a cross between a mandarin and a tangerine. Ehime is the second largest producer of Mikan after Wakayama, and you can tell that this area has a lot of pride in its quality. It was interesting seeing what kind of Mikan products there were available. This whole Dogo area is clearly the most popular touristy area in Matsuyama. There is also a Studio Ghibli shop nearby, which makes sense because Dogo Onsen is thought to be one of the inspirations for Spirited Away. And here it is. While the bathhouse building was completed in 1894, the hot spring itself is said to be over 3,000 years old, making it one of the oldest in Japan. Probably is the oldest. The wooden architecture and maze-like structure of the building inspired elements of Yubaba's bathhouse in the film Spirited Away. It was now time to check it out for myself. I booked a combination package with access to both the Kaminoyu and Tamanoyu baths, which also included tea and biscuits. It was a relaxing experience, except for the part where I accidentally splashed shower water into the bath and annoyed an older local. Sorry. Still, I left feeling fresh, even though I was still wearing my damp old clothes. Re-energized, I decided to try all the Mikan products. I had Mikan ice cream. You can even drink Mikan juice from a tap. This is a bathhouse that opened more recently, but I didn't check it out. You can ride this replica of a Botchan Ressha, a diesel-powered replica of the original Iyo railway steam locomotive that inspired the Bocchan novel. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get the chance to ride it during my stay here. This is a shop where you can sample 27 types of Mikan, each with its own level of sweetness and bitterness. I tried the three sweetest, because I'm such a sweet guy, maybe. There was even a place where you can drink Mikan beer. I'm not one to drink beer, but this was an opportunity I didn't want to miss. This one was my favourite, the sweetest one. Next it was time for dinner. Actually, I had Mikan custard pie first, but it was really nice. Now it was time for dinner. I had shabu shabu, and it was my first time having it. Shabu shabu is a Japanese hot pot dish, and the name refers to the sound of the meat being swished in the broth. After dinner, I got to experience Dogo Onsen all over again, but this time at night. Earlier that morning, I was feeling cold and wet from my bike ride. However, once I arrived in the Dogo area, my day completely changed. Maybe it was partially to do with all the Mikan I had to eat and drink, but I had a blast exploring the area. Even though it has a lot of historical importance, the fact that it has been made into a fun experience with so much to enjoy in just one section. It is a celebration of culture and history. And since it all looks stunning at night, it was almost like I was able to experience it all over again. The next morning, I set off to visit Matsuyama Castle. While you can hike up Mount Katsuyama, I decided to take the chairlift, but I accidentally ended up taking the ropeway instead. Back in feudal times, castles built on mountains were ideal for defense. The steep incline made it difficult for the attackers and gave defenders the upper hand. My original plans for visiting Matsuyama were to visit the castle first, and then Dogo Onsen the following day. However, the weather made me switch things up. Even though the weather still wasn't great, at least it wasn't raining anymore. The views from the top were amazing. A full 360-degree panorama of the city, surrounding mountains, and the Seto Inland Sea. Built in 1603, the original castle was destroyed by lightning on New Year's Day in 1784, and then rebuilt in 1854. Despite the fire, the main keep follows the original layout, which is why it is still considered one of Japan's 12 original castles. To avoid confusion with Bichu Matsuyama Castle in Okayama, this one is sometimes called Iyo Matsuyama Castle, after the region's former name before the Meiji era. I had purchased a ticket so I could check out the interior of the castle. Unlike many castles like Himeji that rise steeply around the central tower, Matsuyama Castle spreads outwards. You don't just ascend, it's more like navigating a defensive maze. You pass through layers of interconnected rooms, gates, and towers before finally climbing up. It feels less like a photo op and more of an experience. This traditional Japanese style of wooden joinery, where no nails and screws are used, is called sashimono. There's even a section in the castle where you can put on samurai armor and take a photo. I was told I had to put on the pants as well, but my legs were too fat. No one was here to help me. Yo wa Mikan no aisuru mono nari, kono shiro ni te minna me no kobe o tare yo, no ba niku o kane o moosu. Now let's check out the view. Even though the sky wasn't clear, it was still amazing to be able to see the whole city from all angles for more than 400 meters high. Now it's time to head back down. Now that I've experienced this castle, how does it compare to others I've visited so far? Well, visually, it may not look as grand as Himeji, but the hands-on exploration and the sweeping views make it unforgettable. So as far as best castles I've seen so far, I would say externally it would be Himeji, but the experience that you get inside, I would honestly give it to Matsuyama. I'm guessing there's no need to explain what I'm eating and drinking right now. After that, it was time to leave the castle and move on to the next place. And since I didn't take the chairlift going up, I was going to make sure I was going to use them heading back down. Up to this point, I hadn't had breakfast, so I thought I'd better grab some first. But then I accidentally left my phone behind, so I had to head back. After that, I walked to Dogo Park, about a 5-minute walk from Dogo Onsen. At the time, I just saw it as a peaceful green space, but that evening, while chatting with locals over drinks at a nearby izakaya, I learned that Dogo Park is actually the site of Yuzuki Castle, the former base of the Kono clan, rulers of the Iyo region. The castle was built in 1335 and then surrendered in 1585, about 18 years before Matsuyama Castle was completed. I didn't film any of the ruins because I didn't even know that they were there. Still, I'm glad that I got to hear the story directly from a passionate local. Now it was time to check out the next spot, Isaniwa Shrine, which requires a steep stone staircase to reach. Isaniwa Shrine is one of the most historically important shrines in Matsuyama, perched on a hill in the Dogo Onsen area. It is known for its vivid, vermilion colouring and its rare architectural style. The current form was built in 1667 and the shrine honours Hachiman, the god of war and the divine protector of warriors. I decided to check my luck with a fortune. My result was quite good. Next I wanted to check out a lookout point, which required a long walk to get there. On my way back down, I found out that there was a Botchan train museum, so I went to check it out. It is near a Starbucks. In fact, it is in the Starbucks cafe itself. This was a complete surprise to me. Nearby, there are two shopping arcades. It was getting late in the evening, so it was pretty quiet, and some of the shops were already closed. There was even a Botchan train-themed cafe. Even while walking through the modern shopping streets of Gintengai and Hokkaido, I noticed something really cool. The history of Matsuyama is everywhere. Whether it is the images of the castle, or Dogo Onsen, or even panels of historical facts, they found a way to blend in everyday life with a sense of pride of the city's past. It is like little reminders of culture and tradition woven into the shopping trip. I tried to time my walk back before sundown, because there was one thing that I wanted to do. Near Matsuyama Station, there is a Ferris wheel that I wanted to check out. The reason for this is that I wanted to see if I could get a good view of the whole city during sundown. I was down to my final two things that I wanted to do before the end of the night. The first was to return to the castle now that it is illuminated at night. As you can see, the chairlifts and ropeway were closed, so I had to hike up the mountain. I like these kind of walks. While in Japan, I wanted to try and get as many night shots of different castles as I could. This is what I didn't want to miss, because with the combination of this lighting and the rain clouds above, I was in for a treat. Looking back, Matsuyama really surprised me. I knew I would love it, but I didn't expect to love it this much. First-time travelers usually go to Tokyo, Kyoto and Osaka, and while those places are great, it means that a lot of places like this get overlooked. In the case of Matsuyama, it's not the easiest place to reach, but it does offer a quieter, more authentic experience, from cultural sites to citrus obsessions, historic charm to friendly locals. This place has heart. And before leaving, there was one last thing that I had to do. Write a haiku. A haiku is a Japanese style of poem consisting of 17 syllables in 3 lines of 5, 7 and 5. So I visited a haiku theme izakaya where the owners helped me write a poem reflecting on my time here. Matsuyama no hikari ni ukabu haru no shiro.